First of all, as everybody said, congratulations on making the final three. I actually have a different question for each one of you because I want to hear different things with you. Courtney, I'll start with you. Truthfully, I came into this final jury wanting to give you my vote. I liked the way you played. I liked that you tucked yourself under Memphis really easily and then cut him off. But truthfully, after hearing you speak these first couple of rounds, you've kind of apologized a lot and said that it was hard for you to make these moves. And I just want to hear one move that you want to fully take ownership of outside of that Memphis swing, or maybe a big move that you wanted to make and just didn't have the opportunity to make.
I think I'm just an apologetic person to begin with. I think it just comes from being emotional, so I don't want that to be like taken against me or anything like that. That's just like the person that I am. But I mean, it is the game, so that is like a really good point. I think when we were voting Tony out, it was everyone wanted Tony, and I know there was rumors of him having an idol, and I wanted to split the vote, and I feel like everyone was like very polarized, and I feel like that was, I think to me, we all played like a big role in the Tony vote, but I think wanting to split the vote is something that I took ownership of, and that I was like, we need to do that because strategically, if he has an idol, then we'll get Cody, and we obviously split the vote with Cody, so he was second, so if Tony played it would be Cody. And I think that was something that I would take ownership of, is wanting to split the vote heavy, and yeah.
Can I cut in? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I think you were super instrumental in splitting that vote, but I also want to take credit for the fact that I was able to get Tony on the table for that vote because I knew that you were going to be a threat. You know so many of the people here, and that's scary to me because you're good at challenges. You're good at what you do, and that's scary. And so when I came in, I went up to Courtney and I said, I want to get Tony out next. I went up to Kyle. I said that same thing. After the challenge, they both looked at me. They're like, I don't know. I think he has an idol. That's when I disclosed the fact that I had an idol. I knew that there was a very, very slim possibility that he would have the idol because Memphis had two. I found the one that went back into play when you played it on the round that Eric went out. I found that one. The second one went back into play the final round of the night. I made the assumption that after that round finished up, y'all started getting ready to go out. You guys went to dinner. You guys did different things. I assumed that there wasn't looking for the idol. So I convinced them. I made sure that Tony stayed on the table because they were okay going with Cody. So I made sure Tony stayed on the table. Courtney definitely made sure that we were smart about our vote, but I made sure Tony stayed on the table, and I think that's the only reason that led to like a split vote.
I don't think Tony was ever off the table. Like, I think it was, like, I will say Tony was never off the table. Like, yes, Anna was like, okay, like, I want Tony, but me and Kyle were like, agreed. Like, we never were like we definitely like weighed our options, and I think you just have to weigh your options in general. But I will say, like, it was never like, oh, 100% Cody.
Totally.
Also, I want to say, I was the one that actually split the vote. I was fully also strategizing that, so I'm like, I don't think that's 100% you.
Kyle, only pink member. I am very happy to see an original pink making it. Original pink. We were picked off very easily. I just want to know if there are any friendships you made outside of the people coming into this game that you can clearly point to here on the jury that you will be taking maybe outside of the game, or you're glad you made.
Quite literally everyone. I am gagged. I'm so obsessed. I mean, we get to work together a lot, so I'm like loving that.
Memphis, is that what you're pointing at?
Yes. Mackenzie, she gagged me like day one. We weren't even on the same tribe. We were like stuck in the blindfold hiding and seek thing. We talked for 3 seconds and I was like, period. Me and Maggie really bonded in that first tribe. Yeah. My girl Brady from Pink. Like, I literally, like, there's not a single person that I did not enjoy getting to know. And I really hope we get to do something like this again. Maybe not Survivor. This is traumatic.
Alright, this is traumatic.
No, yeah, that's a crazy question, of course.
Okay, and then Anna, truthfully, I've really liked your jury so far, because in my opinion, I felt like coming in, you played a game, you weren't playing to win, you were playing to not lose in a way, but hearing you take ownership of your moves, I mean, you kind of answered my question that I had. You took ownership of that. Hey, I kept Tony on the table. Hey, I wanted to play. Maybe when did that switch turn on for you? Because I do feel like there are kind of two sides to your game.
I think there's definitely like an awakening to the fact that I like had real potential in this game. I think it's notable that out of all of the challenges, me and my tribe had only lost 2. We only went to jury 3 times, and one of them we had still won the challenge and we had to go anyways, and that's the one where I had immunity because I was able to really work with my tribe. And over the course of the entire game, I only had 2 votes cast against me, and I think it was because I was a little bit of the odd man out last night. You weren't going to vote against Courtney because you still thought she was with you, and you and Kyle were telling each other you were number 1, so that kind of left me. And so yeah, I think there was definitely a flip. I'd say it was day 2 when I saw how well my tribe was performing in challenges.
Absolutely. Thank you.
One of my favorite parts about Clairevivor is everyone came here knowing different amounts of people. So, like for example, I definitely knew the most people. Some people knew no people. Also, a lot of the cast came in with a clear duo, and so I think that made dynamics of the game fascinating. So, um, for me, for example, I had a really hard time navigating the game because I knew so many people, and that was a big challenge for me. Based on the amount of people y'all knew coming in, as well as your duo, Cooper, Courtney, Kyle, Brian, Anna, Lauren, like, how did you, just generally speaking, or specifically, how did you navigate like those dynamics? Was the amount of people you knew or your duo, was it a challenge for you? I just want to hear about like how you played through that during your games.
I can go. So, as I said in my intro, my duo is obviously Cooper, and we did not even talk about like anything before the game. But coming into the game, I wanted to have a very individualized strategy, and I had that plan. I've already explained that, like my little gag. But I did not play with Cooper at all, and I think that played to my advantage because I think it kind of surprised people, and I think he was a threat, and obviously I wanted to not be associated with the threat, but more than anything, I wanted to play my own individual game and not be tied to someone. And I voted against Cooper 3 times, and I think, yeah, sorry, but I think that that showed very clearly that I was not playing with my duo, and I think I came in really only knowing like Eric, like I had met Mackenzie and Maddie before, but I feel like we didn't really get to like bond or anything. And I think the people that I worked with the closest were people that I'd never met before. I'd never met Memphis or Tony, but even Cody. And Cody was a number we were constantly pulling in, but I had never met Memphis or Tony, and those were 2 people that I worked with very, very, very closely. And I think that speaks to my relationship forming in general, that I was able to meet them on day one and become allies immediately and have like a core 4 very quickly. And I think I was able to like separate myself from my duos. Like I'm close with Eric, and I was able to separate and play the game and vote against him and do what I had to do for my personal game. So I think that I played my relationships very well, and I didn't rely on anyone but myself to get where I am now.
Going in, I knew Lauren and I knew Carmen. Those never got to be duos for me because Carmen was unfortunately first booted from the Green Tribe and Lauren was third booted overall. So I never got to utilize my duos going into this game. And I knew that put me at a disadvantage because when you have a duo coming into this game, when you have an alliance, that helps you. That makes you feel secure in this game. So I knew part of my strategy needed to be getting into those duos and shifting them a little bit. It couldn't just be 2 duos riding to the end, or not 2 duos, but a duo or a couple of them. You needed to break those up. And so I had to do that a little bit on my lonesome because I didn't have anyone to do it with me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the similar as Courtney. I was, duo with Brian. Obviously, that was an optic, but for us as a dynamic, that was never going to happen. I mean, he took a shot at me, I took a shot at him immediately, like the first chance we could. So that was never really an option for me as far as like an alliance. And then the other people I knew, like Maddie, Chauncey, Cooper. Yeah, we were like never working together until we were the very like first 3 rounds. Then we weren't on the same tribes anymore. So I really don't think it affected me. And I will say the final 3, I don't know either of them, and this is who I rode with at the end.
Yeah.
I would not have believed you if you told me that. This is what I'd be sitting with right now.
That's
so
true.
I don't really think it played too much into my game.
Okay, good job. Yay. Courtney, I have a couple questions for you because we didn't like talk that much during the game. And so I am hearing you at jury with your individual scheme. I think it worked. You're sitting there, so it worked. On the flip side of that, what advantages did coming in being like Hypevivor adjacent give you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think there was a big advantage coming in as Cooper's sister because he knows everyone and he's very well liked. So I think coming in, like, and we're very similar. Like, we're very, very, very similar people. So coming in, I already had, like, kind of, like, known everyone. I think it was a big advantage because B, for example, Cooper and B are really good friends, and me and B have never met. But there was a point when me and B was like, "You're my number one," and for me that was a big advantage because I had never met him, but we were immediately able to click because of his relationship with Cooper, and I was able to play him in my game to where he was like, "Do what you need to do, girl. Like, you're my number one. Like, I will ride for you." And so that was like a separate relationship that was from my like Hypevivor adjacent, like Cooper adjacent world. Same with Chauncey. Like I had never even like met Chauncey before. Maybe like we've met, but like I'm like, have we? Same with Kyle. Like with Kyle, like I had never met Kyle before, and I knew him because of Cooper. And I think it goes back to us being very similar and being able to mesh with everyone here. Like we're just similar people. And that's why we're here, is because we had a moment too where we were like, bid for one of the end, like we're gonna be like in the top 3. And I think that was a big advantage coming in and having people that I knew of but had never met. Even with Clairevivor, like I came in knowing who was a strong player because I have heard people talk about it, and I just have heard like Cooper and like Halloween, like Eric and Claire talking about Clairevivor and stuff. Like I knew who the strong players were, so I knew who my eyes were on to begin with. Like to begin with, I was eyeing Memphis and Mackenzie on my tribe because I knew they were strong players and I knew that I could like ride their tails and make it to the end. And when Memphis approached me first, I was like, this is really good. And people had told me like be wary of him, but we genuinely did click. But I think even having the information about all of you, even knowing Tony, like you are like a game maker, like I knew that in my back pocket, and I had a lot of different information on everyone that I was playing in my head that I think got me to where I am. And it was all an advantage of kind of knowing people and being able to take the pieces that I knew from each of you and how I could play it into my game. You're not an asset to me, unfortunately, because you were a target. Like because that would like put like a big target on my back, unfortunately. And I think being able to use the information that I knew and things I had heard about, and I was never like directly involved in any of it either, but it's just I think I'm a good listener, and whenever we're all together, like even though Halloween was 3 days, I was able to obtain like so much information and just like listening and like asking questions, just because I was curious, and then it ended up helping my game a lot. So I think
Just for Anna, I am curious how you being a social worker impacted your game. Because I feel like that's like some psychological shit that I feel like is sort of just like has sort of just like sort of breezed past. And like what your like has that played into your game strategy at all?
I don't even want to say this because it's gonna make me sound like such a freak, but like the empathy side of it, where it's just like it was like, as I've said, like I definitely had to learn that you shouldn't feel sorry for playing the game and voting someone else out, and that almost went against like my nature, which sounds so dramatic, but like it wasn't like intrinsic or intrinsic to feel good about voting someone out. And I had to really learn to turn off that switch and stay in the game. On the plus side, I really like talking to people. I really like getting to know new people. I really like learning things about people. And I think that's why I was able to stay connected with so many people, was like there was it wasn't just a pretend thing of like wanting to get to know people and like, can you be a part of my game? It was like, I want to get to know you. And I think that really helped me build friendships and alliances and partnerships with the people in the game and with members of the jury.
Yeah. Last question, Kyle. Are you gagged you escaped all of those votes?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I figured I would either be first out or sitting here right now.
He did say that.
Yeah, I look back to my.
you made it far.
So once I escaped first out, I was like, I'm gonna get there. There's no way I'm not. So I'm not really that surprised. No.
Congratulations. Sorry I can't speak up that much. Why do you think the other 2 people don't deserve to win?
I think they don't deserve to win because from what I've heard at this, round table, they were playing some floating games until the end. They decided to wake up at the final like 5. I was the opposite. I've been playing this game hard from the very first day. And I'm still here. So I feel like it's a little bit of an easier route on this side than I was.
I don't think they played full games that were like thought out strategy from the beginning, like well rounded. I think it was very like saying yes here, moving things here. I think just like riding by, getting through. But I don't think they had well rounded strategies from the beginning that they were like, this is my plan, I'm going to do this. I think it was very kind of all over the place and agreeing to who they needed to agree to get where they are versus having a plan and a thought and having people and targets that they wanted to move and pawns they wanted to play. I think it was very just like a fluid, like I'm gonna go here and do this because like I just want to play safe. Yeah.
My first one, and this may make me totally naive, but I never thought that you were playing dumb, Courtney. I thought that you were smart and you were a threat from the beginning. And I also thought that was maybe an interesting, I think that playing dumb is maybe an interesting strategy to use when you know some of the people coming in here. And so you do risk them seeing you playing dumb and being like, that's weird. I see that I wonder how dumb you actually played because I just never saw that. And people keep saying like I floated through, but I think it just needs to be highlighted again that I literally came in here knowing no one. I did not know anyone. And there were people here that maybe you didn't know, but you guys had heard of. Like Courtney, you had never met B and Chauncey and Kyle before, but you had known of them. I had never ever met these people. My connection here was with Claire. And so yeah, to start the game, you had to float a little bit to get to know these people and to get to know how they operate, because I didn't have any preconceived notions about these people because this was my very first time meeting them. So I don't think that makes me like a weak player for floating. I think that makes me strategic and getting to like knowing my options. And they just didn't have that same thing. They knew the people. Sorry.
Congratulations on doing something that 15 other people could not do. That's awesome. My vote is still completely undecided because all of you played such different and amazing games. I have a number in my head. I want you to say a number 1 through 10.
Oh,
7.
3. Ooh, I was gonna go with 3. I'll go with 8.